welcome those that are current TOPS customers and welcome those that don't know anything about TOPS, so they're looking at TOPS or just looking for some information. Today, we're doing a webinar about the automation of the AP management lifecycle, specifically related to our VendorAlly product, which we've created this year and released this year to our clients that are using our TOPS One product. So today, we're going to be talking about that. We'll be doing a little bit of questions and answers at the end as well. So that is really the agenda for today. So again, welcome those that have joined us today. Along with me, my name is Terry Perez. If you don't know me, VP of Business Development for TOPS Software. Been with TOPS for about 12 years. Love it, love what we do, believe in what we do. And also with us today will be William Thomas, our product manager, who's fairly new to TOPS, but a very seasoned veteran when it comes to the product management in software. Well, William, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me, Terry?
I can hear you. Yeah, William, I know that nobody's mentioned anything about that awesome haircut that you have in that picture. So clean cut, man, you look great.
I appreciate that.
Awesome, awesome. William, can you just share a little bit of background about yourself, of what you kind of when you came to TOPS and how long you've been with us?
Yeah, so as Terry mentioned, I'm fairly new. I've been with the company right around 7 months now, but I do have an extensive background, originally in corporate and investment finance. I then switched over to software engineering and decided to combine those two skill sets and get into product about 7 years ago. So happy to be here, speak with everyone. I'm happy to be with the TOPS team and looking forward to any questions that come through throughout the presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Good to have you here as well. Have had great feedback about you, William. So thanks for that. Today, like I said, we're going to jump right in and start talking about accounts payable. I've been at TOPS now for 12 years. I managed our support, some part of our training as well. So listening to the property management companies, the owners of the companies, people that are responsible for accounting, specifically the accounts payable, we know that accounts payable is a nightmare, right? The way that it's customarily been done throughout the years for our customers is all through paper. It's something that has been laborious for all of our customers. You get the invoices, the paper invoices. You're responsible for unpacking those invoices. You're responsible for scanning those invoices, coding those invoices. You're also responsible for managing your vendors. How many of us know today how hard it is to manage customers? Guess what it's like managing a vendor? Just as equally as hard, right? You got to keep their email and their phone contact information updated. You have to keep their email address live. You have to keep their insurance updated. So these are all things that we found. On average, 40% of our time, the PMC's time, is spent managing accounts payable. When we took a look at this a few years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I would say, we saw that number at about 25% of PMC time. And so through those years, we've seen it increase. I've been all around the country and I've kind of seen some of our customers that have been around for a while and see how they handle the accounts payable lifecycle. And again, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, and I've been in these property management offices to see where they store these invoices. And I know some of you out there today are on this webinar, and you're probably sitting on a box of invoices right now, or you have in your computer closet, you have your invoices there. So we know that it not only is it taking up time, it's taking up more resources than just time. So we know that anything that consumes time is costing you money as well. So VendorAlly, what this is a complete tool that we've built to manage the accounts payable lifecycle. What is the accounts payable lifecycle? The accounts payable lifecycle is going to be when a vendor has a job to do in the community, and you're responsible for getting that vendor paid for that job, right? It sounds simple, but it's not that simple. A lot of times in our communities that we manage, there's not just cutting the check and approving the invoice. It's making sure that the community has visibility to that process as well. Is the board aware of the payables? Are they approving the payables? Are the property managers taking a look at the payables? Are the accounting staff taking a look at the payables? So customarily, TOPS itself, we've always just kind of had a software in our legacy software and now in the current platform where you could enter those invoices. You could cut checks. You could manage your vendor information. We knew that we needed to take a step further. We knew that based on the feedback that we received from our clients, that just wasn't it. That wasn't the whole picture, and that wasn't the whole life cycle. So, we have our opinion on property management and accounts payable, but don't take it from us. Take it from yourself. Look back at your organization. Have you hired somebody specifically to do payables? How much time do they spend on it? How much interaction do you have with your vendors? How often do you talk to your vendors? Who's talking to the vendors? Is it the property manager? Is it the accounting staff? Is it your admin staff? You, the business owner, are you spending some of your time focused on vendor management and vendor engagement when you should be worrying about the business? You should be focused on growing the business and making sure that the relationships that you have with your customers are profitable. So what we feel like this is a big problem that we solved. And so what we did is we like to drive our solutions based on our customer feedback, okay? And so we asked, and we did this. William, you've been instrumental in kind of helping us drive our product decisions based a lot on our client feedback. So when we asked clients, what are some of the things that really consume your time? What are some of those things that are really out there every single month, every single week that are really taking the time? And so, we hear the vendor's insurance is expiring. We hear about the having to chase down board members to get paper checks signed. We hear about people that are running their entire approval of accounts payable through email, right? And so we know that these things are not the best solution for our clients. We know that what our clients have asked us for years is the one-stop shop, the one throat to choke, that one solution where they don't have to leave to get their jobs done. So hopefully this is making sense. When you've talked to our clients, William, you're there. When you've spoken with our clients, does this information that you see on the screen, is this pretty consistent with the problems that they've explained that they face?
Absolutely, Terry. And just to add on to that, overall, the feedback from our pilot customers regarding VendorAlly specifically has been overwhelmingly positive. The majority of feedback has been less focused on functionality improvements and more on creating a more intuitive process within the UI. So just as an example, we received feedback initially that communities could not update their vendor information. So we took that feedback and were able to solve this right away by putting vendor contacts back on the profile page. So just a quick example for you, but this slide aligns very closely to the feedback that we've received.
Awesome. And that's, William, I appreciate you sharing that with us. That's also something that's really important to consider when you're thinking about implementing something like a VendorAlly that's going to kind of change the way that you do business. It's really, really important to understand the challenges that you'll face. And it's nice to know that when you do partner with somebody like TOPS, somebody like us, somebody like William, you're going to work directly with our product team, and feedback matters. If there's something that's not intuitive, if there's something that's going to cost more clicks or more time, it's something that we definitely want to listen to. So I appreciate that one. Appreciate that feedback. What we know, what we found out. Okay, so we know the theoretical. We know why we know why we hear why the accounts payable process takes so long. But why? Why? When we dig into that, it's because it's highly manual. There's no automation tied to it. There's nothing there where you can't get something done without having to actually do it, and by logging into the system, typing something in, coding something, printing a check, making sure that the maker is there on the checks. These are all things that cost. These are all things that have a high touch for the staff, right? Whenever there's a high touch for the staff, what we also know is there's a lot of room for error, right? There's a lot of room to miscode something. There's a lot of room to oops, accidentally cut a check when there's no money in the checking account. There's no money in the bank account. So we really wanted to kind of take away as much of that manual process as possible. And so one of the big things that we know is the check cutting process. A lot of our customers that I've spoken with, they have had check runs maybe once a week, maybe twice a month. For some of our customers that are larger in scale, you know what, we're going to do check runs twice a month, and this is when checks are going to go out. We had to figure out a way to also bring relief to that as well. We had to figure out a way to get our customers to get their vendors paid faster, right? That's going to keep happy vendors. That's going to keep those jobs done well for the community. And that's really what it's all about. That's really what it's all about, is really making this easier for the property management company, but also relieving that work and getting back some of that time. The bottom line about the solution that we're provided, there's no other provider out there right now that's offering a full end-to-end solution. So again, I told you, everybody hear this on the webinar today. I've been with TOPS for 12 years. Spoke to so many of our clients, and the biggest thing that I've ever heard from our clients is, Terry, we want TOPS to be the one-stop shop. We don't want to have to pay 3 other people. We don't want to have to call 3 other people if we have a question or a problem. We just want to deal with tops. And so our solution was to roll out VendorAlly. And one of the things that we wanted to do, we wanted to roll it out at no additional cost. And so what that means to you is this is something that is highly, highly important to our organization for our customers. And so we've put a lot of resource into this. A lot of our development efforts and our roadmap are related to relieving this pain for accounts payable. William, in your experience, you have a lot of experience in the product realm and software. Something like this is really a game changer, something that adds so much value to a business. Is this something that you would think would normally be rolled out at no additional cost to a customer, or do you, in your experience, see that things like this are normally at a cost?
So as I mentioned, been a product for many, many years now, and have seen many successful product and feature launches. With VendorAlly specifically, I do consistently believe it is one of the most impactful feature releases I have seen. Not only for the fact that it's saving some of our customers that 75% of labor time, as with Fidelity, which we'll get into later, but also improves the process for our customers' customers. It is a value add feature, as Terry mentioned, so it can be accessed by all of our customers at that no additional cost. And I've not seen something with this large of an impact, Terry, without costing anything, and as that value add product. So pretty incredible to see, and happy to be a part of that process. Absolutely.
Yeah, and really, again, thank you for the opinion on that. It's always nice, like I said, being at Tops for 12 years and kind of growing up and being in business with people that were there at Tops just as long as I have. Having somebody like William come in from the outside to work with our product and our development team to give us that perspective, it's really good to hear. So, one of the things that, again, one person to deal with. It's really nice to have one vendor that can take care of all the needs. So again, no additional cost to you, no additional cost. There's vendors out there that you're paying today to manage your accounts payable lifecycle. There are other vendors out there that this is a high cost. This is not something that's cheap. This is something that I know that even some banks will fund the cost of a software that is specifically related to accounts payable. But this is something, again, that we want to provide to our customers at no additional cost. We believe that we are the one-stop shop for the entire ecosystem for the HOA as well as the property management company. So this is our way of making sure that our platform is going to meet your needs. And again, what's in it for us? What's in it for us is that it makes it sticky, right? We don't want you to leave us. We want you to be tied to Tops, so married to Tops even. So this is really helpful for us as well to kind of meet your needs and to keep you interested and keep you seeing the value that we give here at Tops. One of the things that we know is that it had to be a part of the platform. One of the pains of this industry is that there isn't a provider out there that can be the one-stop shop. One of the pains of this industry is that you do have to have that additional partner to service some of these needs. So how does that work? How does that happen? Some of the times, and many of the times in some of the integrations that are out there that exist, there's a sync that has to take place. And that sync will run nightly, or that sync will run every other day. This isn't good. This is not good, right? Right now, in today's day and age, people want access to information and they want availability right now. There's no room for a sync anymore. And so one of the things that we knew that we had to do, this had to be a native application. This had to be something that was a part of the ecosystem and not something dependent on keeping 2 databases aligned with the same information. So I speak to some of you out there in webinar land right now that are using some of our competitor software, or even some of you out there today that are using some of our old legacy software. Those are pains that exist for you. I've been there. I've been in your offices. I've been on the support calls. I know what it's like to not be able to cut a check to a vendor or not be able to get approval to a board member to get these things done on time, right? This business that we're in is highly driven by date and time sensitive things. So getting those checks cut on time, getting the invoices approved, bringing the transparency to the management company, to the board members, and to the vendors themselves. That's really what our goal is and what we really wanted to accomplish. One of the things that we really kind of wanted to put together was something really short that we could show you. What are the main features that this VendorAlly is going to provide to you? So one of the things that we did, created this just short little list here of the vendor portal features. Right now, we give you control over the registration process for the vendors, right? If you want to generate the invites, if you want to get them logged in, we now give you total control over this. So no more phone calls, no more kind of tickets submitted to get help with that. When you get these vendors on board, they're going to be able to manage their contact information. Think about how important it is in the customer relationship management, where you need to be able to give your homeowners the ability to update their mailing addresses and their phone numbers. We went a step further with that by allowing them to do that in the VendorAlly, but we also want you to be able to let them update their workers' comp insurance and their liability insurance. How many times do you have to get this through email? Once you get it through email, what do you do with it then? You save it to your desktop, you save it to a shared drive, then you have to upload it into your management software, right? And so what we know is it's much easier for a real-time API integration, a real-time API talking from VendorAlly to Tops One. When they update that insurance information, it's updated in real time, and that attachment passes into Tops One, and there's no more chasing that down, right? There's not going to be a possibility where you're going to cut a check for somebody that doesn't have insurance. And that's really one of the big things that's nice to see happen. The vendor is going to submit an invoice as an accrued AP item with an attachment. Right now, again, think about what your process is. You're getting mail. The vendor's dropping off a stack of invoices. Some poor soul, maybe there's more than one poor soul at the management company that's having to open those envelopes. They're having to scan those invoices, code those invoices, right? So just imagine life without having to do that. So what we've done, and this is something, again, audience, that's superior to some of the things that you see out in the market is email, right? Even if your vendors are emailing you the invoices, what are you doing? You're still having to open the email, take the invoice, drag it to your desktop, attach it to the system. We wanted to do away with the labor on the property management company staff. So the vendor will log in. They'll submit the invoice, they'll attach the invoice. The awesome thing is after that, the PMC, whoever you label as the contact to be alerted, you're going to get alerts for these incoming AP items, right? You're going to get alerts that those are there waiting for you to review. The awesome thing about this, one of the big questions that a lot of our people have, our customers have, was, whoa, when these invoices are submitted from the vendor, is it already something that's in my open payables? And absolutely not. That's something that you don't have to worry about. It's basically what you're going to think about it. It's going to be a review process for you to get the invoice in, to review it, and then pass it along the normal approval process if you so have. Right. So right now, they're going to be, not only are you going to be alerted to the incoming AP item, but the vendor's also going to be alerted to the status of the invoice submission. So when the vendor gets that, they're going to get a notification that they submitted the invoice. And then if we want to take this a step further and eliminate not just the invoices, let's eliminate the paper checks too. Let's eliminate the period of time that the vendor has to wait to get that check. Let's give them the option to enroll in electronic payment. And so that's really something that we feel vendors are leaning towards. And really, they like to get their money faster, right? And I know right now, there's 157 attendees now. And I know what some of you are thinking right now. My vendors are not going to do this. My vendors aren't going to log in. They're not going to keep their information updated. One of the things that we found, and we heard this from everybody that we kind of took this to first, when we actually help them with the onboarding and we show them kind of the way that the vendor is going to get something out of this, we have people that signed up that have 50 to 60 to 70% of adoption for their vendors. So imagine that. Imagine eliminating 70% of your workload with accounts payable. Even if you can't do the full 100%, imagine reducing it by 70%. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We're about at the halfway mark right now. We had a few poll questions that we wanted to make sure that we got answered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow our marketing team to kind of go ahead and put those polls out. And right after those polls, I'm going to go into a little bit of a demo and show you some of these screens in depth of what this VendorAlly looks like and how you would use it as a property management company. So let's take a little break for those polls. And if you need to use the restroom and grab a bottle of water, do so, please. Does that sound good, William?
That sounds great, Terry.
All right, awesome. All right. Thanks everybody for taking care of those polls for us. We really appreciate that information. It helps us. It always helps us when we have these polls to really drive some decision making for us. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of the features of VendorAlly. So VendorAlly, again, it's something that we branded VendorAlly by TopsOne. No additional cost. The product itself, when you log into VendorAlly, you're going to see the vendors are going to see a dashboard. They're going to be able to see this dashboard and they'll be able to view the invoices from 30 to 60 to all time, to all the whole time frame. They'll be able to quickly manage here the contact and insurance information. And this is where they're going to see their alerts as well. Big thing to kind of focus on is rejected invoices. If a vendor submits an invoice to you and it's the dollar amount's incorrect, the time to be paid is incorrect, anything that's on the invoice is wrong, you have the ability to reject that invoice and send the reason you're rejecting that invoice back to the vendor. So if they see that, they'll get that notification, they'll update the invoice with the correct information, and then they resubmit the invoice. And again, take it, remember this, that it's all real time. It's all in real time, so these things happen instantly. Let's take a look at some of the invoices that will show after they've been submitted. So if you look here, the invoice management, you can view the invoices in real time and get updates on those invoices. What we're looking at right now is a list of invoices with due dates, amounts, the actual community that they're working in, as well as the attachments and the status of the invoice. So what happens today when a vendor wants to know what's the status of this invoice that I've submitted? What do? They either call your staff or they're going to email and they're going to consume time that way. Why not give them the self-help option? How many out there today depend on self-help for whatever software you're using, whether it be TopsOne, whether it be anything? We are children of the Google lifestyle, right? If you don't know an answer, you search for an answer, you need it in real time, you have access to it as long as you have internet. Same theory here goes with the VendorAlly and the invoice. If they can see that those invoices have been posted or they've been rejected, it's very helpful for the vendor, and it allows them to not have to make those phone calls to you or email to you. And if you look here, just an example of the very bottom invoice, this one was rejected. And if you see here, very easy to see, the invoice was rejected by Emily on 10/8, and it was the incorrect amount. So really easy, very simple for the vendors to use as well. One of the things that I wanted to kind of cover, and I know I'm jumping ahead to some of the questions, but somebody asked, FPL or some of the big kind of utility vendors, how are we going to get them to kind of to join this? There's really quick answer for that. They won't and they don't. Right? They're not going to kind of do that. And again, there's some vendors like those big utility vendors that are probably not going to want to join this. But think about it in the scope of, again, if you can't eliminate 100% of the labor, what if we can reduce it by 80%? What if those big utility vendors are the only vendors that won't opt in for this? So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about those big utility vendors here. Let's go ahead and look at what an actual invoice submission looks like. This is the screen that the vendor will submit the invoice, okay? What you're doing is you're saying, hey, this is the amount of the invoice, this is when it's due, the invoice number, this is the community. How many people out there have vendors that don't just work in one community? They cover multiple communities. And so we're gonna allow them access to the communities that you give them access to submit those invoices. And then again, one of the most important things to this whole process is making sure that the attachment of the actual invoice is there and visible to the property management staff, as well as those board members, if you're giving them the access to approve invoices. Hey, William, have you had any feedback at all around the invoice submission specifically from the users that you've talked to with VendorAlly?
I have. So from TOPS users specifically, it's all been positive feedback. Saving that time, saving money, they can go focus on other things to be successful. For the vendors as well, it's all been positive. So as far as the invoices, notifications, communication, removing those hurdles, I've not heard any negative feedback on that whatsoever thus far.
Yeah. Hey, do you know, William, have you actually spoken to any of the vendors themselves and they've given you this feedback?
I have. So I actually have a full list, especially with Fidelity and a few others of very large companies as well as some of those smaller business owners. And no matter the size, they've all been willing to sign up and partake as soon as they know, we remove those communication hurdles. They can get paid just in real time, get those notifications in real time. So every company that I've talked to, small and large, has all given that positive feedback.
Yeah, awesome. And just for everybody out there watching, William kind of mentioned a property management company named Fidelity. Melanie Barkadarian, if you're on the webinar today, God bless you, love you to death. Really, really fantastic case study that we're going to share with everybody after the webinar is over with on how Melanie Barkadarian and Fidelity kind of revolutionized their accounts payable process using VendorAlly. They were one of the first customers that we used to work with us to adopt this technology and roll it out. So that case study, really, really, if you have time, give that a case study some attention because it's really eye-opening when you think about it. So what happens after you submit the invoice? Where does the invoice go? Who gets notified? What's the process after that, right? That's a big question. So right within the TOPS1 software, okay, this is for the property management company. The property management company, I've been around a few in my 12 years at TOPS. Property management companies, they operate differently. When you get those invoices in and you're reviewing those invoices, there's pretty much a split between who's doing that at the property management company level. It's the property manager in some cases. In some cases, it's the accounting staff, the accounts payable manager, the accounts payable staff. So it's really dependent on the property management company. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give these invoices that are being submitted, and remember, when they're submitted and you're seeing them here in this inbox, they're not open AP items. They're not something that's going to show on your reports. They're just there for you to review and either reject it or accept it or view the invoice. And one of the awesome things about this product, we talked about it a lot when we first started this webinar, was the property management company staff having to code the invoices. When I say code the invoices, what GL account is this invoice supposed to be coded to? And so many management companies that range from 50 doors under management to 500 communities under management are doing things the old-fashioned way, where they are doing this all manually. Right? And so your ability to take this digital and to alleviate that is really, really key here. So what we're looking at again is the screen that you'll see to review those invoices. And when you can eliminate the need to code those invoices and they can follow the default vendor distributions that we have set up in TOPS1, it's really, really awesome process because again, it eliminates the need for manual coding. Somebody might ask, well, what happens to those one-off invoices where it's not going to follow the normal process of where it needs to be coded to? What if this is going to be a different bank account? What if I have to cut it from reserves? What if I have to cut the check somewhere else? This is going to allow you, because our platform is so cutting edge, when you see these underlines on the AP items, you can right click on these AP items here and you can recode those if you need to. If you need to change the bank account, if you need to make any adjustments outside of what the vendor has submitted, you're going to be able to do that prior to accepting this into your open payables. So that in itself should get everybody excited. I know some people here that would probably like to set the accounts payable invoices on fire. So this is going to help us kind of relieve that pain for you. Let's go ahead and take a look next at the next view here, the VendorAlly Dashboard. So this again is going to show you some of the settings internally in TOPS1. So this is showing you for the property management company, how many vendors have been invited, how many have registered, how many invoices you have flowing through the system, and what those values are, right? So on a per property basis, you have the ability to allow vendors to submit invoices, and you can turn it off for certain vendors as well. Really, really nice feature here. One of the things that I don't have the screenshots today to show you about is the approval process, right? It doesn't just go from invoice to submission to cutting a check, right? There's a lot that happens in between that when you're allowing your boards to approve invoices, or you want an internal approval before it even reaches the board. So once those invoices are submitted, you can set up the approval process within TOPS1. And so that approval process can just be board facing, or it can be internal facing first so that your team has a chance to review those invoices. They have a chance to correct any kind of mistakes before it even goes to your board members to approve or see, okay? And I know that that's really important. I know that in the scope of property management, the less problems, the less anything that you have to explain to those board members, the better it's going to be for you. So that's one of the big reasons why that we've allowed certain things, such as the approval process, right? Not only do you have the ability to offer those approvals to internal constituents as well as the board members, you also can put some nice logic around it, right? So sometimes you might want an invoice that's over $200 or $500, whatever the dollar amount is. You don't want just one person to approve that. You want to get two sets of eyes on that. You want to get two people to go ahead and stamp that with approval, right? And so we've allowed that to happen as well. We've introduced logic to the approval process. So this is all really, really good stuff that we've had feedback, even from the board members, right? Some of you, I know that the webinar land right now, that's split. You know what? We're not going to, our board members don't need to see this. We don't want to give it to them. But then there's also some of you out there where you have to do this as a competitive edge, right? Some of your competitors are out there winning business because they're taking their technology out to your customers and the people that you're fighting for to earn their business, and they're showing them this technology. They're showing them how technology doesn't replace your customer service, and it doesn't replace your built-in business processes. Technology is going to enhance your customer service. Technology is going to make you look like you have a focus on today's technology, and that's what board members, that's what these communities are wanting to see today, right? You think about, me and Mike usually do these webinars, and we usually say at the beginning of the webinar that we're not going to talk about COVID, or we're not going to talk about how that's changed our industry, but also changed the world. In today's day and age, you have to have some type of self-help. You have to have a technology that's out there that's going to allow you to do things over the web and allow you to be transparent with your customers and your homeowners. Without that transparency, the other guy, the other woman that's owning that property management company down the street, they're going to get that business. They're going to get that business because, again, technology should enhance the experience of customer service. It should never replace or diminish that customer service. William, you've been around for a while. Wouldn't you also agree that that's the intention for a real technology solution?
Yes, absolutely, Terry. Completely concur on that statement.
Awesome. One of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about, William, with you is in implementation with the VendorAlly. You know, I know that you've shared some of the things that the vendors have said. Hey, can you share with us some of the things that some of our customers have said about either the easiness of implementing, or has it been a pain? Has it been hard? What are some of the pains that the vendors have faced, to your knowledge, of implementing something like a VendorAlly?
Absolutely. So for vendors specifically, this varies depending on the client. However, the most notable challenges with getting vendors to sign up, from my perspective, were when vendors had a very set way of doing things previously. However, as mentioned before, once they realized they could be paid faster with our VendorAlly solution and had the ability to remove those communication hurdles, they truly realized the potential and were much more adamant about getting signed up as rapidly as possible.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And William, if you can, you know, one of the nice things about what we've shared today is we've explained that we now have the ability to open up the digital payments for accounts payable, right? We've done that for AR, for TopsOne. We've opened up the AR payments, but now we've opened up those digital payments for vendors as well. I'm going to kind of go on to talk about a little bit of what we have planned. This slide says that, you know, digital payments is officially being released in Q4 2020. But William, can you share the experience that some people have had with the digital payments today? Because I know that there are customers out there right now that are actually paying their vendors digitally today.
Yes, absolutely, Terry. Sorry, I had a little bit of background noise. But yeah, so far the experience has been fantastic. We're already getting people that are sending all their invoices and payments through VendorAlly. And something I do want to touch on, though, is not only just with VendorAlly, but as the AP management lifecycle as a whole, we also have completely built out our AP approval process. And this is going to tie directly into VendorAlly. So for everyone on the call, I don't want to just focus on just the digital payments, but also that AP lifecycle management as a whole. I know there was a question that popped up regarding the AP approval process on sending out notifications to board, for example. So we do have a way now by certain tiers of payments to do internal approvals and external approvals. So anyone who would be interested in being part of that pilot program right now as well, please reach out to your CS team and we can get you set up with that. But as mentioned, Terry, yeah, so far for VendorAlly specifically, all positive, all amazing. And you know, we're just super excited to have this, not only this portion, but also that AP approval, AP lifecycle management as a whole.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff. When we can, anything that we can do to eliminate the paper and eliminate the labor, those are things that our clients have said that it is valuable. And William, I really appreciate you kind of really hitting on feedback today. You know, we like to talk about our tools. We like to talk about our software, our solutions. One of the things that I like to make sure that we always hit on is a relationship through all of this. And so, you know, there's 100 people in the world that sell hammers. But what sets the certain person apart? What sets you apart from the next person on the block that does the same thing, right? And so one of the things, in my opinion, that has set us apart is our ability to really leverage the relationships that we've had. Some of you out there have been in property management for 30 years, and some of you can brag that you've had customers and relationships for 20 or 30 years. One of the big reasons why we've been successful and why we've been along so long is because we've leveraged those relationships. And so, William, to hear you say that some of the things that exist in this VendorAlly weren't part of our design. They weren't something that TOPS or some the meeting of the minds decided at TOPS. It's directly coming from somebody that's using the product. And so that in itself is exciting. I like to tell stories about the old days at TOPS before we grew up and hired great people like William. We were, you know, it was kind of funny and this is just a lot of different softwares. You submit a feature request and it's like, are they really going to do this? Do these guys really listen? And so having somebody that's related to our product and development, that's client facing like you, William, has really been a game changer for us to help increase our relationships with our clients, because feedback's important. Think about it, you out there in property management today. If you have a customer that tells you, hey, I need you to do things this certain way, that would usually we like to make our customers happy, right? So that's one of the most important things about this is relationship. I think I'm hearing feedback right now. I apologize, guys. I think I have somebody mowing behind me. Awesome. Looks like they're done. So based on that, William, can you share with us, is there anything else that you're able to share around the VendorAlly accounts payable lifecycle that's coming in the future? I know that there's some questions out there right now as how do we do this or can we do this? And I'm seeing some of the answers that we actually have it on our roadmap. Is there anything beyond those digital payments that you're able to share?
So right now there are a few options, and I do want to touch on as well when you talk about the client feedback and how important it is to us to hear from our customers. And so I just want to state first off, when we develop software here at TOPS, we do want to create the most value for all of you and partner with you so you can be as successful as possible. And we recently implemented a full product framework that aligns our overall business strategies with our roadmaps, and we run specific calculations to set priorities that will help us achieve those goals. So currently, customer feedback and overall quality within the application is one of our highest priorities. So we're working very closely with our CS team and directly with our customers to obtain data on what will be prioritized and pulled into those development cycles. So not only are we taking that feedback into consideration, but all the feedback we get has a direct impact on what we are prioritizing as well as what we are developing in real time. So please, anyone who wants to be part of that, we will update our roadmaps based on that impact. Please get a hold of your CS team or myself, and we will add on to these. So we will have the roadmaps being updated, but as far as VendorAlly, I think you touched on all the functionality, which was amazing. Next up is going to be that AP approval process, which we are currently piloting, and those will be integrated together. And from there, we are currently speaking with multiple customers. So anyone who's interested, please come talk to me about where we are headed in the future with this, because you do have a direct impact on that.
Awesome. Really awesome to share. Thanks a lot, William. You know, one of the things that's awesome to hear again is how close you are to the customers and how much we've kind of taken our product and development team and really married that to customer feedback. So really important to understand about TOPS and the way that we kind of work with our customers. It's really important. Awesome. And so we kind of talked about this a little bit throughout the presentation. The case study that we have, we're going to make this available to everybody that's attending today. Fidelity Management, again, Melanie Barkadarian, awesome client. I remember when they first started with Tops, they were not a customer that came. I don't believe they came from using Tops Pro. They came from using, I think, a QuickBooks. And so she's grown that business to 3,000 doors in 50 communities. And again, 58% of her vendors now using VendorAlly. It's reduced that labor by 75%, right? And so just that alone, if you think about how did Fidelity do it? If Fidelity Management Services did this, why can't you do it? Why can't you get those vendors to adopt that? And I'm seeing some of the questions today and some of the good stuff. That's who trains the vendors, right? Who's going to do that? And so we've not only do we help with documentation and collateral that helps our property management companies, but we also give you information that's material that you can pass on to your vendors and your customers so that they can learn these solutions as well, right? And again, the way that you have to think about implementation for this process, anybody that tells you implementing new software is going to be seamless and easy, run away, because we know that there's always work involved, right? Nothing good just poof happens through osmosis, right? There's always an investment in time, and there's always going to be an investment to get the value and the return from what you're putting out, right? So when we board these vendors with you and we help you get these involved, yes, there is a learning curve involved for the vendors that are out there, like William said, they're stuck in their ways and they don't want to change. But think about if you're in growth mode. Think about if your goal is to grow by 10 communities, by 15, 20 communities, right? When you're onboarding those new clients, how much better of an experience is it going to be for you to deliver a solution that doesn't involve you having to pick up the phone and you having to manually do everything, right? So yes, it's a little bit harder with some of those existing clients to learn new tricks, but again, the return is there if you're willing to put it out there. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap up with a little bit of Q&A. There's some questions out there right now. I'm going to go ahead and read a few of them, but let's do that. We have about 10 minutes left, and so one of the things that we'll do is I'll go through some of these questions here and just kind of go through the answers as well, because some of these things are really, really good questions. William, are there any questions that you were seeing that you kind of thought were really, really good to hit on right now, since you've been going through those?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm typing at the moment as we speak to answer all the questions. Let me see what is left on the list here.
Yeah, well, right now there's a few questions that I'm going to go ahead and pop in, and William, you can tell me to be quiet anytime. One of our customers out in Texas, Michael Gentry, really awesome. Hilltop Management, awesome customer out in Texas. When will ACH payments be available for vendors? Today. They're available now.
So Michael, great question, and that is currently on the roadmap. It's hard to give a specific estimate right now because we are going through the prioritization process with many different feedback items. This is one that is on our radar, however. So most likely within the next 3 to 5 weeks, we'll probably have an estimate of when ACH payments for vendors will be available.
Thanks, Wade. Jenny Lawson, dear customer of ours, known her for years in Georgia. You have some great questions, and I think that your questions, like always, are going to be a little bit more complex. So Jenny, I just wanted to let you know that we will reach out to you directly and we will go over this. Awesome. And Michael Barron with PMI up north. You want chat support? We are inching closer by the day, I think. So one of these days we should be able to deliver that for you. But questions about the VendorAlly. Are these resources Tops employees or third-party vendors, right? And so we have resources on VendorAlly for both vendors and team members. So if you're, I'm not sure exactly who asked that question, but if you're today, you've joined us and you're a complimentary partner of ours. Maybe you're a bank. Maybe you work for a bank. This is something, again, that's built into our software and our solutions, and we definitely have documentation that you can pass along to our mutual clients. And again, I do see there are a few members of our partner banks. Welcome to the webinar, and we appreciate you joining. We really do. Let's see. Anything else, William, that you thought was really a good question to hit on?
Sorry, Terry, I'm over here typing away. I think all of the questions are fantastic. I think we have answered the majority of them, but I would like to say if there are additional questions after this presentation, please feel free to even write myself directly at william.thomas@topsoft.com, and I will be able to answer any of those questions today for you.
Awesome. You know, I always like to look through the attendee list because, again, I don't get a chance to say hi to our customers all the time, but I'm looking through a few of the people that are on the attendee list today. April out in Oklahoma, appreciate you, remember you. Hopefully you're taking a look at this today and you're going to see some good value here. So good to see you on the webinar. I'm not going to embarrass too many people here, but a few other people that are on the webinar that, again, good to see you on the webinar. Christy Asher, haven't talked to you in so long. Know you're out there in Orlando. Give me a call. Give me a call. Let's talk about TopsOne. A few other people. David Vargas, love you, man. I know you're out there in Jersey, trying to stay warm. Good stuff. Who else? Who else can I embarrass here real quick before we end? I'm waiting. We have about 6 more minutes to take on questions. If there's nothing else, again, I'm going to embarrass a few more people and then we can wrap it up. And if you're interested in that case study, make sure, if you don't see it available to you, make sure that you reach out and we can get that case study to you. And again, just like anything, some of you out there today, property management companies, there's usually not a problem if you want to contact one of these case study property management companies and just ask them. Ask them the questions and the things that aren't on the case studies that you want to know. Make sure that you reach out and you ask for their contact information so that you can do it yourself. You can hear right from their mouth how this has worked and how this is implemented and how much of an impact it's made. Yeah. Zadie, I see you as well. Good to see you. Really, really awesome to see you. Hopefully everything's doing well down there in South Florida. Tina Bennett, love you. You know I do. In Texas, anybody in Texas that's out there. But I think that's about all the time we had today, guys. If there's anything that we can help with, anything at all, any questions, a lot of you today on the webinar have my direct email. Feel free to email me. Stuart, I see you out there as well. You're like family. Hopefully everything's going well up there. Again, stay warm out there. Anything else that we can help with out there in webinar land, TopsOne customers, people that are new to Tops, reach out to us. Contact us directly. We'd love to hear from you. Again, thanks a lot for joining, everybody. William, really appreciate your help today. Thank you for joining and helping out so much.
Of course, and thanks for having me, Terry. And I am copying over these questions. So I see a few, of course, Jenny Lawson, Michael Gentry, Aaron Vallis. I will be getting back to you guys momentarily.
Awesome. Awesome. And if you're out there and you need some special William time, you just let us know. We'll get you some time. Again, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Don't be too busy. Try to be nice to your customers. Be nice to your board members, even though they don't deserve it sometimes. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.